Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sharks and Things. Sorry for the brief hiatus. I'm your host, Cody.
I'm Matt.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Zach.
Zach back.
Zach is back.
Is that like bacon? Like fat back? Zach back? We can't turn you into bacon?
Go ahead and say no.
I think we could find a way, but I don't think it would be nearly as tasty.
Probably not.
I don't think
that's
Zach
probably
would appreciate it either.
it's probably also
No,
laws
no,
against
no.
it, cannibalism and murder and such.
Not with today's climate.
I ate his liver with the...
It's hot and humid. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. It's
Hot, sticky, sweet.
Something fava beans. That's, I think, what you're getting at.
fava beans I ate with a nice Chianti.
There we go.
It is the Saturday after E3, which means E3 has come and gone.
Woo!
It was actually really good E3.
Kind of, sort of, ish.
I would like to say that like everyone minus Nintendo had like the best conference, like press conference they have had in a very long time.
Well, I think it's safe to say Bethesda stole the show as far as, hey, this moment brought to you by Bombshell. Oh, by the way, Bombshell. Another way, Bombshell. And Sony also had a very good Bombshell show, but
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and say Square's Bombshell was bigger.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is a bigger Bombshell is we knew Doom was coming. They showed it last year at QuakeCon. We knew Fallout 4 was coming. It was just a matter of when. Like the stuff Bethesda all showed, we knew was going to happen.
Okay,
The
so
Final
explain
Fantasies-
to me what all did Bethesda drop? So Fallout 4, which
Fallout
is huge.
4,
Doom, which
Dishonored
is huge.
Dishonored 2.
Dishonored 2, which
we knew
everyone's
was
been hoping
coming.
for.
That leaked forever ago.
Dishonored 2 actually officially leaked the day before the press conference when they were doing warm-ups.
Yeah, and even still, like, people knew it was coming anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're talking about Bombshell knock people out of their chairs because it came completely, like, not even left field, like, someone, like, came from the tailgate area out in the parking lot was Final Fantasy VII. Like,
if we're going to be
regardless of-
honest,
But
Final Fantasy VII was also expected.
yeah, it was like
Yes.
like the week before E3, we knew that there were a bunch of people like saying, yeah, we're gonna have a Final Fantasy VII remake. Like the idea that they're doing a remake and not an HD convert is the weird part about it that's new. But the fact that they were going to announce something was not like if we're gonna talk about
I didn't know about it.
yeah, but going into the
And
show,
the thing is, I didn't know about it, and I looked. Like, after they announced it, I was like, this had to have leaked somewhere. And
Yeah,
I tried to find it and could not find any, like, not even rumors.
oh yeah, no, like when Mitch and I listen to Bombcast every week, and they were talking about on last week's Bombcast was like, yeah, supposedly this new Final Fantasy VII thing is coming. Yeah, like there was rumors about it, and according to the third party guy who's always at I can never remember his name, Adam Boyes, he said that they were just guessing because every year they say that. If we're gonna be honest, like the only things that like super out of left field was the fact that new Guerrilla Games game was kind of out of left field, but we saw like an image leak before that. Microsoft announcing backwards compatibility, I think, is actually
that was out of
biggest-
left field.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest surprise of the show. The fact that Keiji Inafune is working on a new game for Microsoft was a pretty big bombshell.
TJ Inafune making a
TJ
game?
Inafune.
What game?
The Recore for Xbox.
Mighty number 10.
No.
Mighty number 10.
So, yeah, he's working on Mighty number 10, but he's also working on that new game for Microsoft.
Please
Recore.
note, Mighty number 10 or
Mighty
is it
number
Mighty
9.
number 9, sorry.
Yeah.
That's coming out on Vita. You have any idea how I finally actually have a Vita game that I can say I'm semi looking forward to.
There are a lot of Vita games that they showed at the Sony in their flash reels, and I'm like, did that say Vita? Who let a game onto Vita? Like someone at Sony's like, we don't support that thing anymore. Why are you putting games on it?
I
Then
think
we
it's
find out.
developers at the because we can stage, not because they're like this is definitely going to make us money in this market. I have a good
It's gotten
feeling.
to the point where it's like, we finally figured out how to put these things on there, and now you don't want us to? What the hell?
Well, they gave us like full remote play with PS4, and it actually works really well. So it's lived up to what it was, I would say, originally designed for. But they have no second thought about supporting it or saying, we should give them original game. You know what? You bought your console, you're fine with it. Enjoy, play all your classics.
Anyways,
so
all the
Bethesda
things.
bombshell.
Bethesda conference. So we had Fallout 4.
Yep.
So what does Fallout 4 look like then?
Fallout 4
There's
looks
voices.
Voices.
You
Fallout
have
4 looks
Fallout-
significantly
Fallout-
better.
Voices are
Oh.
good. Significant better.
It's significantly better in the fact that it's presenting a lot more stuff than I thought it would have. Because if you think like the progression of Fallout 3, New Vegas, and then over to Fallout 4, same thing, adventure, start in a vault or start out in the wilderness, whatever. But, have a little bit more of gun customization, maybe a little revision of combat. I'm very much expecting a lot of the same kind of Fallout. Where instead it's, hey, we're just going to allow you to craft pretty much anything. Craft your house, craft your gun, craft your dog, craft your armor.
kind of
Craft your dog.
It's all kind of nuts, and apparently the gun combat is supposed to be a ton better. So if you don't want to use VATS, you don't have to. Seems like
thank God.
Seems like the crit system is tied to VATS, but it's you can still just shoot people.
Well, and also I think it's kind of cool that it turns it into more of almost a survival tower defense. Because when you find these little settlements while you're going throughout the wasteland, you can build all your buildings, you can build all this infrastructure up, have people come sell stuff, caravans, whatever. And you can actually set up turret systems and all this other stuff to prevent raiders from coming into your settlement. Seems kind of silly, but it's actually a lot of fun.
Color me.
Or it seems like a lot of fun.
I think
I always thought that was honestly missing from Fallout 3 at least. Because you come across this place and you do a few quests there to kind of secure the place from raiders or something, and then there nothing. That's it. Hell, they had back in Morrowind, they had strongholds that you could build up and stuff. So
yeah, so they're that's in there now. It'll be interesting. I'm trying to think. As far as Fallout goes, I think the other big thing for that was that it's coming out this year, which I assumed it would. I mean, it seems right that it would come out this year. I know that some people are it's too early for them to say it's going to come out this year. But
If you think about the amount of time that they've put into this game,
that was kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, because there's no way that after Fallout 3, they're just kind of we're just going to let this one go.
it has been 5 years. So
Yes. So,
see, I'm not all that excited by it.
Zach?
not a big Fallout fan.
No, Zach,
Yeah.
just fuck you before you say anything else.
I play Bethesda. I play all of the Bethesda games really, really weird. I did the same thing with Skyrim and Oblivion, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. I don't get them right away. I don't get into them right away. I get them 2 months later and then install 20 gigs in mods and then play.
That's what a lot of people do.
I don't even play the game through normally. I've never played through Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, or Fallout 4, or Fallout New Vegas. I literally have never played through in its entirety without mods.
And I think you're actually missing out on the quirkiness of Fallout. Half of what makes those games so flippin' awesome is because of the
Most of what I
jankiness
do
of that engine.
Is I wait for the HD upscaled texture mods and stuff.
No, fuck those.
Because the
Stupid.
textures are garbage usually initially.
Yes, and that's what makes it hilarious. Is it's not meant to look great. Everything
Textures
about
aren't
that game was
really
designed to just make it.
Either.
You're exploring a world of garbage, and you're upset that the textures look bad on a nuclear wasteland. I'm sorry, the sand looks like shitty sand. My
to be
bad.
fair, all those games have a weird graphic.
They have a style. It's definitely a very Bethesda style.
Yeah, and none of the stuff that I downloaded texture pack wise is anything that changes the actual shaders or textures themselves. It's upscaling them from X by X pixel, X by X to X by X. So if it's 240 by 240, I will download the 480 by 480 or 960 by 960, so on and so forth. Or like there's some for Skyrim that are like 2560 by 2560, which is just absolutely fucking absurd.
Yeah, no. I think the other big part about the Fallout announcement, which was announced the next day at the Microsoft press conference, was that they're bringing mods to Xbox and probably PS4, if we're going to be honest. But like that was
mods to Xbox.
Yep. So PC Fallout mods will make their way to Xbox. I'm assuming they'll probably do some type of curation on that. Like the logistics behind that seems weird to me. Like, how do you get custom models and stuff into the game? I mean, I guess now that
if you think about it this way, because you remember like the old GEC tools that they had for mod creation, I have a feeling that they're going to have like another developer kit.
They're using the same thing they did for Skyrim. They're going to have the basically like instead of the Skyrim developers kit, it will be the Fallout developer kit.
Yeah, but so long as you like have that, I can't imagine that the export processor bringing that over would be too bad because it's already controlled as is.
Yeah, I don't know. So that'll be interesting to see that. I'm assuming it's going to come to PS4.
Controlled.
Yeah, it's kind of controlled.
Yeah,
it'll be more controlled.
If you stick to Steam Workshop, it's controlled. If you venture out into like Nexus mods, it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, so
Steam. It's kind of curated by the community at that point.
See, I'm just waiting for someone to announce the first to the nude patch for Fallout 4. Like, I have a feeling that's like the first thing that people are going to try and part over.
That'll be within a couple days at most.
Our world
it ain't making it to consoles. I can
that's
see that.
definitely making it to consoles. I mean, let's just roll. I don't want to go through press conference by conference. We're probably going to make this a 2-part podcast just for your guys' knowledge while listening. So if you don't hear something you wanted to hear us talk about this week, we might probably talk about next week. What was your guys' biggest surprise minus Final Fantasy VII? Like, what was the big, like, I was not expecting to see this here?
Well, I think we already kind of discussed that initially, which was Xbox 360 compatibility backwards compatibility. Because of all things to bring to an E3 conference, the last thing on my mind was, how do I get my Xbox One to play my old Xbox 360 games? Like, that was the last thing I would think of.
I'm just very happy because I traded in my 360 to get my Xbox One. So now I have all these games that I can finally play again.
Yeah, that's kind of
so
how I am.
Actually, what I've actually noticed too is if you've read on anyone who's been doing like the beta of it, like just popping on something like Mass Effect, it actually is playing the games better than the 360 did. Where there's not nearly as much like texture popping.
Phil Spencer was on the Giant Bomb Night Show, and they were talking about that. And basically, like, they decided last year that they were talking about things they wanted to do with the Xbox. And one of the things they decided is that they wanted to do backwards compatibility because there's still a lot of people out there who maybe haven't bought a next-gen system yet, or current-gen, rather, system yet, because they have a whole library of 360 games, and they're not going to be able to afford a whole bunch of Xbox One or PS4 games right away. Like, that's still a real thing for a lot of people. And so they decided like to put the money into it up front. And the way it's working is they're actually running an Xbox 360 at like the hardware, like they're emulating the hardware of an Xbox 360. And then basically from there running at all the software on top of a virtualized like they're basically spinning up a virtual machine of a hardware emulated 360. And that's why everything works. And that's why, like, as far as like the Xbox Live service is concerned, it is an Xbox 360. And then as far as Xbox One's concerned, it is just a video game called Xbox 360.
That's still, like, we've all known that, like, the Xbox One is basically a hypervisor. It's just spinning up a bunch of different virtual machines to run everything. But even this is like a world of complexity beyond that.
Yeah, like
that's ridiculous.
Shit's bananas. Like, the PS4 might be more powerful, like, graphically, but the fact that Microsoft's just like, we're basically crazy enough to be like, you know what? Let's just take this hypervisor thing that we've got in Server 2014 or 2016, whatever version of Server, and like, let's just throw it on the Xbox, and that's how we'll do it. We'll just run everything on virtual machines. You're like, okay, that's fine.
Well, that's the exact reasoning between fuck it, we're doing it live, and they did.
Yeah, like that to me is the technical marvel of the Xbox One, is that they're basically like,
God damn it, I just always gave them a fantastic slogan to use. Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Why? Yeah, that part's cool.
Fuck it, we're doing it virtual.
Yeah. I'm in the preview program. I haven't downloaded any updates. I don't know if I have it. I might go through a copy of Mass Effect in later tonight and see if that works.
See, that's weird because I'm in the preview program too, but
I don't think that was
I'm not.
released yet.
I don't know. I know there are people.
And I
out
think
there-
you have to activate on their forums or whatever.
well, no, like I have because I'm in the preview. Like I get all the preview dashboards and beta dashboards and stuff, and beta updates, whatever. I just neglected to install the last one because it was while I was in the process of moving and whatnot. So I went back to try and find that one, and it's not there anymore. So I was like, oh.
Well, the last update itself for even just like us who aren't preview program was backwards compatibility framework already.
Yeah, so that stuff was, but like when that last update came through and Major Nelson was like, you're not going to see anything like new. We're just laying some groundwork for some things in the future. Like that's what they were doing.
Yeah, because some people have discovered that they can already do backwards compatibility for some things.
Yeah. It's just super cool that they're doing that. Taking a little bit of a jab at Sony by saying, hey, it's free. You just need to put your disc in as a validation thing, and it will just download the game and run the game that way. Phil was saying the only, literally all publisher has to do is just say, yeah, let's do it. And they will run their game through a QA process at Microsoft just to make sure it works. Like there's no weird hiccup things. And then they'll just push it out as available to run. That's pretty cool.
And it'll work with games you bought on Xbox Live, and also there was something else about it. There's some weird thing they have on the Microsoft forums. They have a vote going on for what fighting games specifically people
Third
want
Strike.
To see.
Give me my Third Strike on my Xbox One, and I will be a happy camper.
I know they were talking. So Phil was talking like the other big thing you can't do is multi-disc games currently don't work because there's no way for them to handle that process right now.
They can't just install all the discs.
It just depends. It's the whole disc swap area is the problem they're running into. Is when it hits the disc swap, that's when they have issues. Alternatively, they said none of the Kinect games will work
None
just
shall
because. The Kinect games, they just can't, getting the new Kinect to be recognized as a Kinect on that. They just said that's just something they're not going to put time into just because that is an incredibly difficult task.
Because exactly what we need. We need a virtualized Xbox 360 running a Kinect incompatibility mode.
Yeah. So that means
we need last generation's Dance Central.
It's more like games like Racketeer, man.
Fuck that. I want to play Fruit Ninja in compatibility mode.
Just playing on your phone.
No, but I want to.
Shut up.
I want to do that.
So that was cool. I'm just trying to think anything what was anything else that was super cool.
See, I have to rant a little bit about Doom 4. So Doom. I'm not sure if you guys are huge Doom guys or not. I am definitely a fairly large Doom fan.
I dislike Doom 3.
Okay, well, in which case you're not going to be talking. That's fine. Doom 4, they showed off a bunch of things. So outside of their lighting engine, which looks fantastic, by the way, it actually looks like it plays very similar to Doom 1, where when you start watching it, kind of get into a little bit more of the chaotic part of it. They show all the original enemies, so your stupid, all the invisible beasts, your imps now have a lot more mobility. Anything that fires a weapon is significantly more challenging, so it's not just like...
And cacodemons. Keiko.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and just make one small gripe. It's super monotone to me.
It's brown.
Oh,
It's
very brown.
It's a modern game.
it's nitty.
We were
it's
getting
gritty.
away from that.
So
We were just starting to get away from that.
Well, you've seen the Twitter that went out, or someone had done a Photoshop of the original of the Doom colors, and then they replaced it with the original palette from the first game.
Yeah, which looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm actually really wondering
I'm hoping
how quickly the modding community will actually come out
Yeah,
and start doing some palette swaps.
I want that mod.
Because as far as the game goes, All the guns look incredibly satisfying. I'm really happy that they, of course they had to have the novelty chainsaw. That's always necessary. But
I wanted to see the BFG actually fire off.
That was good. It was a good cliffhanger.
And a nice throwback too is if you're actually really paying attention during the fight while they're in the center arena and kind of like the hellish area where he's fighting just a billion different things. In the very center on a platform, they actually had the invincibility skull. So if you ever played the original Doom, and they always had like the orbs with like the the skull or anything that would give you invincibility or God mode, it looks like they're bringing those back, and that makes me super happy and a little bit nostalgic. But as far as the pacing goes, it is a surprisingly fast game. Like when you start throwing more of the enemies, it really gets going very much to like the tone of Doom 1.
My real question is, can I drop down a console, type in IDDQD and IDKFA, and go fucking batshit crazy?
Here's hoping. I hope.
I'm just hoping that multiplayer actually pans out, because they want to do that. They want to do the Twitch shooter, like, arena combat.
Well, you saw the mobility, so the mobility is there for like a good multiplayer game. The big thing for Doom, I think, is going to come down to good map design, because I think map design is going to like make or break that game as far as the multiplayer goes. Because the shooting mechanics and everything look absolutely fantastic, movement looks good, but the last thing we want is corridor shooter now with multiplayer. Like it's just going to suck if it's just here's a flat. Oh, you can jump on one car, pick up some armor. Like no one cares about that. Like, there's too many other compelling games to play that has a significantly better multiplayer experience. So, single player, I think, will be, phenomenal. But if they live up to the multiplayer, then I think we may have a new Quake on our hands. So, that would make me happy. So, that's my Doom rant.
Speaking of shooty thingies, there was the Taken King. I'm the only person that really plays Destiny, so I mean, I guess I was the only person excited.
I'm kind of ish.
So explain to me why I should be excited about Taken King.
Good question.
There's a whole new zone. I know that much. It's a whole new landmass.
Yeah, it's a big floaty ship in space.
It's not a
like
VIP section.
Ship.
There's
new raid, 4 strikes, new multiplayer maps, a new multiplayer mode. 3 new subclasses, 1 for each class. Oryx, father of Crota.
The Titan gets a hammer, bro.
Yeah, the Titan totally turns into fucking Thor just with fire.
He just throws fire hammers everywhere.
Like, imagine Thor if he was the god of fire and not lightning. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. You can smack people with hammers. You can throw them at people, and they explode.
They were the guys from Bungie were on one of the shows I was watching, and they were talking about like
warlocks turn into Sith lords.
Kinda. They were talking about a lot of stuff like a problem. Like
they get lightning, and they float around, and they can fucking unlimited power.
The guys from Bungie were on one of the shows, and they were talking about like they understand the frustration. Like they've all been playing the game, and they like the thing they wanted was a Diablo loot game, and it, like nothing drops as frequently, so they're going to start playing with that and stuff like that. We'll see. The problem I have is that this is going to be a $40 expansion, and there has to be a lot there to justify the $40. I feel
there's more than the previous 2 expansions already.
Yeah, but that was 2 expansions for $30, which meant there were 2 $15 expansions.
Unless you paid for them individually, in which case they were $20 each.
Yeah, but most people are going to buy the expansion pass.
But you can't count the discounted expansion pass.
You can.
You have to count the expansions at face value.
Anyways, regardless, I mean, that was...
It's your destiny to spend all of your goddamn money. That is your destiny.
And light level is being upped from 34 to 50. They're also upping the base level. So, from 20 to 30. And then light level is going to be 50. New exotics, new weapon types, blah, 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 blah.
Artifacts. There's some stuff coming. I mean, it'll be interesting.
I'm just hoping then that the end game will be where not everyone has the same exact weapons and gear.
It's really not like that now. Like, there are certain weapons that are like, quote unquote, have to have. But aside from that, most of the arsenal ends up being kind of like personal preference stuff. Like, they've done the past couple balance passes they've done on weapons has been pretty good. They kind of shat on auto rifles because they were too good, so they need to kind of bring them back up a little bit. But like, pulse rifles used to be like, oh, good, a pulse rifle. Fucking dismantle immediately. Doesn't matter. Dismantle. There's a ton of different exotics for different play styles and stuff.
Sure.
The only real consistent thing is for PvE was Galahorn, which, since they are going to light level 50, and I imagine there's going to be no way to upgrade said Galahorn anymore.
I think
Galahorn will be going the way of the dodo.
No, I think they talked that there'll be a lot of respec stuff coming.
Well, they talked about like reforging stuff, like re-rolling perks and stuff, but not about upgrading things to be current, because then, why bother getting new gear? Just upgrade everything.
They talked about that. I don't remember exactly what they had talked about. They just go from that to Halo 5. I mean, Halo 5 looks pretty interesting.
It looks like a Halo. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sold on it just yet. Like, I think it looks good. It just looks like another Halo.
Zero, a heart, an inverted heart.
Is that a squid?
Oh, it's supposed to be a Halo. There's that new mode that looks really interesting. Warzone. It's player versus environment. Apparently Bungie's, or not Bungie, 343's like name for it is player versus everything. So it's red versus blue versus like
zombies.
Enemy
Halo
AI.
5?
What?
Halo 5?
Yes.
That part looks cool. I mean, it's interesting. From what I've heard, it's really fun to play, and it gives us a lot of satisfaction for people who maybe don't necessarily want to play PvP like Halo, but they want to go play with their friends who are into that. So,
I don't know. I'm not too terribly thrilled about it. Maybe that'll change my mind. I'm probably going to end up buying it anyways, because I'm just the Halo guy. Like, I picked up Master Chief day one. Had some fun with it. Fortunately, the whole multiplayer thing threw me off, so hopefully Halo 5 can help redeem that.
That's next. One of the next games on the list, I think, for Mitch and I play through is Master Chief Collection. It's been a long time since I played through all the Halos, so I'm kind of excited to do that again. Maybe we'll do some big, like, 24-hour live stream and do that.
Yeah, get that hype train.
Probably not. We'll play as much as we can.
Okay.
All the E3 games are getting...
Okay, so I'm just going to go straight to Street Fighter 5. So that's my other bit of happiness.
That was requested that we talked about Street Fighter 5. So talk about Street Fighter 5, evangelize. Tell me about Cammy and Birdie.
Cammy and Birdie. Cammy, way faster. Birdie, fuck Birdie. Exactly the exact words.
Birdie was a character,
but no one gave a shit about Birdie.
No, I just don't like his redesign. He was cooler when he was like a hulking, muscle-bound, chain-carrying like street punk. And now
fuck that guy. We need a replacement for the existing Rufus. Okay, we need to have that fat, I'm obsessed with food character, and they have nailed it. So, one of his power-ups is chugging an energy drink and throwing it on the floor as a projectile. Like, he has the ability to throw down a banana, and you can slip on the banana to set up a zoning game. Do you not understand how stupid and ridiculous and awesome that is? Like, he has the ability to, okay, so you throw down your banana. With his chains, he has the ability to throw it forward, throw it vertical. So, and essentially it's trying to get you to do anything in hopes of jumping, and he'll just grab you out of the air with a chain and throw you down. And on top of that, they introduced some new mechanics. So in Street Fighter 4, they had the focus system where you could absorb any kind of attack, and you could either keep charging it to hopefully get a crumple, or you can backdash out, cancel. There's all kinds of crazy crap. So now they have the V-Trigger system. The V-Trigger system is a character is in, like, they have their own special ability, and they get different properties to either normal moves, they get some kind of special attacks, buffed attacks, or just a new move in general. like for Birdie, his whole thing is if you build up your V gauge, so you get them by performing whatever your special
V
attack
skills.
is. Yeah, V skills. So if you build up, let's just say Bison, he has no projectile absorption. Like if you absorb it using that special attack, it builds your V gauge. So when you have your V skill, you activate it. You now have ridiculous properties. Birdie's, he now gains a incredible amount of buffing to his moves, and he travels further. So if you're like at 3/4 of the screen and he activates this move and you throw a fireball, it just goes all the way through it, continues attacking, and does around like 20 to 30% damage. Like it's a disgusting buff to someone who really doesn't need it, in my opinion. Or Cammy, her cannon spikes, they travel faster across the screen, they travel faster horizontally, she gets more mix-up options, all kinds of crazy shit.
And
So-
Nash gets a teleport.
Woo.
So with this,
Bison gets a way better teleport. So,
Well, I can't remember if the teleport is Nash's V trigger or V skill.
I believe that was his V trigger. Actually, no, V skill. Wait. No, because his V skill is where you can just like teleport behind you. And then I can't remember if that builds up the V trigger or not.
Well, he had the different teleports based on directional inputs.
Okay, well, whatever the fuck that is. Anyways, new mechanics. They're slightly more complicated in a sense of like what is all this crap? Like what the fuck is a V trigger? But I'm really happy they did bring back the idea of a super. So you have something that does more damage, but it's not like the end game where if you get beat up enough, then you suddenly have all this power at your potential, just a matter of landing it. Because Street Fighter 4 is a lot of that, where you would start absorbing attacks throughout the match. You would, maybe get hit by something in hopes to build up your revenge gauge. So you can just, hit them with an ultra and kill them. So now there's a little bit more of, I wouldn't say tactical awareness, where you can't just like fucking throw it out, just because you're automatically going to get it guaranteed that match.
I don't know. I saw a little bit of this. It looks
Not gonna
interesting.
lie, I'm super confused.
I am too. I've watched a little bit of this. I'm like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
So it's-
Characters, that's about all I know.
So this game was not made for you guys in mind. Like maybe like a couple of the gameplay mechanics. So like one of the changes from like 4 to 5 is there's less of an emphasis on what are called links. So the time between combos that you actually, the timing required to hit the next button and actually have that attack connect as if it were in a combo string. So those used to be very, very tight, like 1/32 of the timing kind of stuff.
1/60th of a second. One frame.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. 1/60th of a second timings. My bad. In order to hit some of these combos. So now they're focusing more on target combos where you can just, go like low, medium, heavy kind of thing.
Chains.
So I'm trying to use terminology that people understand because Mitch looks like he's about to hang himself.
Let's carry the conversation. We'll keep in fighting games real quick, but Killer Instinct coming to PC.
That makes me happy. Means I can finally
I already
use my
have an
arcade stick.
Xbox One stick, but
It's super cool because they're bringing that Fable game, and they're bringing the Gears of War Ultimate Edition or whatever it is.
side note, I have an extra beta key if anyone wants it.
Dibs.
Of the Fable?
The Gears.
Oh, I thought everyone had whatever. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, they also have the PC Gamers Show. It's pretty spiffy. I think it's kind of cool to see Microsoft like coming directly from the head of Xbox say, we neglected PC for a very long time, and they're going to try and basically correct that. They're going to be like, okay. Phil's philosophy on it was basically like, hey, play the game where you want to play the game. That's all we want you to be able to do. So if that means you want to play it on your PC, play it on your PC. If you want to play it on your Xbox, play it on your Xbox. If you want to play it on your Xbox on your PC, do that. Like that, these are all things they want you to be able to do. And
With the whole Windows 10 integration thing, I can only expect that the PC gaming will get quite a bit better as far as Microsoft titles.
yeah, I think that's pretty spiffy.
As long as they don't, turn games for Windows Live type thing on again. And
I think they maybe learned the lesson with that, and that maybe this Xbox for Windows 10 thing, maybe a replacement for that.
They'll probably
eventually.
just use Xbox Live.
But they'll probably just end up using Xbox Live wholesale. I hope they don't make you buy gold. Like that would be the worst thing they could do.
But they could do it, and they probably will.
I don't
For
think they-
like to do streaming or something.
Yes, Zach.
He's got an epiphany.
We forgot. We made it through. How long is this? Like 45, 50 minutes now?
Oh God, I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Yeah, you know what's coming.
1 second.
Mr. Caffeine.
What's coming, Zach?
Dark Souls 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Oh.
Yeah. What did we forget about that?
Dark Souls 3. But wait,
We have all
Dark
failed.
Souls 3.
What's
Why so soon?
It has actually been in production since they started Bloodborne,
Well, no, it's actually been in production. So they said they started.
like 2 years ago.
They
Or
had by the time Dark Souls 2 had come out, they had the prototype of Dark Souls 3. Of like that's when Miyazaki stepped back in and started looking at it.
And
And
probably
that's
was like, what the fuck is this shit?
no, like that was what he came back to Dark Souls 3 and said, yeah, looks really good. Dark Souls 2 is a weird story. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on the podcast, I think when it was just Mitch and I. There's a design doc out there, and maybe we'll try and get that linked out again. That was like a post-mortem from the director of Dark Souls 2 and like what ended up happening to that game. But Miyazaki's a co-director on this one. It's some weird stuff's being thrown around about it. Like it's supposed to be the last Dark Souls, but Miyazaki says it's not the last Dark Souls.
Maybe it ties off the story or something.
Yes, he said it's a trilogy, and it will finish the trilogy, but he says it's not the last Dark Souls game.
Which I just interpret that as a translation thing, and that means like Souls.
Yeah,
Type game.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, everyone who saw it said it looked really good. It has the fidelity of Bloodborne, which would be kind of exciting. Like, there's
And
a lot
did you
of
see the display?
yeah, that thing was awesome.
That what?
They had a big display at
Hold on.
E3 that was like
I gotta find it.
a guy standing at the bonfire with some steam and stuff. It looked really cool.
Oh no, it wasn't Steam.
Oh, so was it blood? Was it Miyazaki's blood? Is it the lament of the women? Lamentations. That was the word I was looking for, not lament. Lamentations. Sorry, Conan. I failed you. But like,
So-
while Zach's looking that up, there's new weapon. Like, one thing they went into this, they wanted more weapon versatility. So there's now 3 stances for every weapon. There's like your standard one-handed, a standard two-handed, and then there's like a readied act like weapon stance. So like for short swords, it's kind of like a super quick, like guard break move or something like that. For two-handed weapons, it's like a big sweeping attack that can knock enemies up into the air. Stuff like that.
Are we getting in Dark Souls May Cry? Because you just said sweep into the air, and I immediately just have this crazy image of Dante just going fucking ham
As
shit.
did I, and I'm like, I don't know how I
Jump
feel
here.
about this. Yeah, no, so that's apparently like the part of the new combat system. It's supposed to close the chapter, like the big bad, and this is the Lord of Cinder. So we shall see. Maybe 1 through 3 will be actually a cohesive story, which would be interesting.
What if it actually has a narrative that tells you?
That would suck.
That won't
honestly.
happen. I mean, it's Miyazaki. I don't think there's ever been a Miyazaki game that's been like, yeah, here's a cohesive story. Like,
Well, there's
Directly
cohesive
told
story,
you.
and then there's like we have to research and read
but that's
so
part of
much.
that's part of what
just-
makes Dark Souls interesting, though. I mean, that's
Could I not just like find a couple of pages here and there, in the game, just a little journal entry or something,
no, that's
just a little bit?
what makes Dark Souls interesting, and from a lore perspective, is that you have to work for it. Like, that part is what makes that immensely cool.
Way too much effort. I just want something to help tie it in.
I mean, like, that seems like even with like not Dark Souls 2, but with Bloodborne, there was a lot more of that story seemed to be like readily available to the player. I mean, it was a lot of that stuff was still hidden behind some wacky shit, but for the most part, like you had a base understanding of what was going on. So maybe they'll take some of those principles and apply it to Dark Souls 3. That was a next year release, so that'll be really cool.
Yeah, so I linked you that thing of the display. I can't find the GIF, but apparently there's a sword on the outside of it that you like. If you grab the sword or something, blood starts spraying up out of the body where the stab wound is.
So it's a fountain.
Yeah, it literally is a blood fountain. It turns into a blood fountain.
Pretty cool.
Please tell me that makes fondue. The blood fondue fountain. Just make it like cherry or something. Just have kids like walk up with like some cherry cones. Dark Souls blood fountain.
Trying to think of, it's like, what other, we're rushing through stuff, which is why next week we might take a little slower approach when we talk about some of the bigger games that we're not.
Well, there's just a lot of games, so it's just kind of like jumping of whatever, like, oh yeah, there was this.
So, games. Very exciting this week. Maybe next week we'll do some deep dive. Maybe we'll talk about Final Fantasy VII next week.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be like its own episode for Zach.
Whatever. I just don't care. It's like, I don't care about Nintendo.
Yeah, they didn't really have anything good.
I feel very cynical. I just like, woo, Final Fantasy VII.
Your childhood must have sucked.
No, I was a Dreamcast kid.
Exactly. Your childhood must have sucked. My childhood was fantastic.
Shenmue 3.
I never played Shenmue 2.
Shenmue 3 Kickstartered, essentially just to say, I think people are kind of interested, and it still has like the full backing of Sony as is.
It doesn't have the full backing of Sony. Sony, it's one of the third-party developer things. Sony basically said, I think a lot of it for Sony was what a lot of people was like. A lot of people were like, yeah, I would play Shenmue 3 if it came out, and I don't think Sony was willing to be like, okay, well. Part of it was that if Sony went to go develop it entirely in-house, it would no longer be a third-party game, and then I can't remember his name, would lose lose the rights to the IP if it came entirely in-house. So he's making the game by himself.
By himself, like literally only.
No, like he has his team, and his team is the one making this game. It's not like the Kickstarter was basically like, okay, a lot of people say they want this game. Let them put their money where their mouth is. And if you can raise this amount of money, that they've had some backers, like they had some venture capital like lined up, and Sony also said, okay, yeah, we'll put some money in. We'll help you market this thing. We'll do a lot of this stuff for you if you can prove that people actually want this thing and are willing to buy it. Because I think for a lot of people, that was the issue.
That was very quickly proven.
9 hours is the fastest funded or fastest. It's not the fastest funded. It is the fastest.
Fastest grossing
threshold or something.
I don't know. Like it earned the most.
Fastest grossing.
Fastest grossing. I think is probably the correct term there. The fastest funded was the Oculus, but this was funded in 9 hours at $2 million, and I think it's already like at 4 or something now. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Although that's nowhere near the amount of money it takes to make a game.
Oh no, Shenmue 1 cost $65 million to make. That being said, they were doing a lot of things that had never been done before, like a living, breathing world. So, like, I could see that. And they didn't have a lot of efficiencies that we have nowadays.
Well, everyone kind of recognized that it doesn't take, $4 million to make a game. It's essentially saying, hey, there's interest in here, and now we can get money to make this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of those Kickstarters end up being. I'm trying to think if there's anything, like, really quickly we can kind of bounce through that was, like, Platinum Games has their fingers in every pie. Like all the pies they have.
Cherry pie?
Yeah, man.
They're making that new Transformers game. That's the Revengeance team is making that. They're making Scalebound for Xbox One. They are apparently the ones behind that Star Fox game for Nintendo.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
I should also mention,
Star Fox.
No one cares. Last Guardian.
No one cares.
Last Guardian. That finally got announced.
It didn't get announced. It was basically like, yeah, we're still working on this thing. It's still here.
It's still coming. Don't worry, guys.
There's a game. It's playable. You can move the kid around and climb up the dog thing. But
well, how many games can you say have like been shown off at E3 that many years ago and been like, yep, here it is?
A lot.
Of what? There's not that many games that have gone that many like E3s of being like shown, hey, here it is. But like this one has just had like radio silence on it for however many years.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's one of those games, and we'll see when it's finally done. Like at this, yes, it's
If it ever
cool.
gets done.
It's cool that it's not dead, but at the same rate, whatever. Well, so okay, we don't do winners and losers with E3. Like that is not something we do. Like the mission statement of
Speak for
Sharks and
yourself.
things.
I won, motherfucker.
You
the mission
lost.
statement.
You didn't even pay attention. Shut up.
Mission statement of Sharks and Things is that like we're the home for gamers. We're the home for everybody, PC, console, mobile, whatever you are interested in gaming, RPGs, pen and paper, board games. Like we want to be your home and a place for you to come and talk about that. Like that is what we want to do. So that's why we don't do winners and losers. Like that is dumb. Like the winners at E3 are the consumers. Like we get to see really cool shit that we get to play
Eventually.
That was like, I mean, so the cool thing about the Microsoft press conference is not like the bulk of everything they showed was like coming this year in 2015. Sony was like coming sometime next year, maybe, or in the case of Batman next week, which why Batman was at the Sony press conference. It was kind of weird.
It wasn't at E3, but hey, Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition comes out Tuesday.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that wasn't like in anywhere. Like there was no minus Street Fighter 5. There was no Capcom.
Capcom did a huge thing on Devil May Cry 4 through like social media stuff.
Well, there was that, but like they also got that Mega Man collection coming out. So I'm surprised they didn't have like that anywhere. Like they maybe showed it at some of the booths. Like
Capcom did their own stream.
I don't know. They also don't have a whole lot of
But
money.
they could have done like, Nintendo and streamed to E3.
Actually, in the same light for Nintendo, we had the Rare, what was it, the 30 games in one?
yeah,
Yeah.
The Rare Legacy or whatever it's called. It's
Rare
30 games
plays.
for $30.
Yes. And the original version of Perfect Dark? Yes.
It's the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah.
Aww.
There's a
It's
like
good.
that's a
I know, I
That
can
was a good
toggle.
version. It was a really good version.
that's like that for $30. I think that's going to be a must buy for a lot of people, just because like 30 games for $30. That's good value, and it's a lot of games. There's no other way you can play. But like I know it's distinctly missing a lot of what people consider Rare's biggest hits, but like there's licensing issues in this day and age, and Rare doesn't own everything they ever made. Like that apparently was a big thing why GoldenEye isn't in there, is because licensing is who owns the licensing for GoldenEye right now, and like could they actually bring that? But they also like when they were making the list, apparently they were like, what's a game that actually is very like is all Rare? Like it's not a licensed game. We didn't make it for somebody else. We made it ourselves.
Can't remember. Is Donkey Kong 64 on that list? I think it was.
Because it is Nintendo
Oh.
property. Nintendo owns all of Donkey Kong, so there's none of the Donkey Kong games are in that.
Which is why Tropical Freeze happened.
Yeah, but Banjo Kazooie is on there, which is kind of like their successor to Donkey Kong. In that like platformer, 3D platformer style game.
Sure.
We're
For
going to
them,
just go ahead and disagree on that.
like that for them. That was the next evolution of Donkey Kong was Banjo Kazooie. You can not agree all you want, but that's true.
And then
All right.
Ukulele. There we go.
We need a large
Ukulele
animal
just
that
came
can.
from Donkey Kong. There you go.
We need a larger animal that a smaller animal can ride on. What do you got?
Beyond that, though,
Where?
there's just a lot of really cool things at E3. That HoloLens demo was incredible.
Oculus Rift actually showing off playable games made for Oculus.
Really? That's
Yeah.
actually surprising right there.
Well, they didn't show them on stream. Like you could go to their booth
Oh.
and see them.
Well,
Like that was the problem with VR this year, is that like a lot of people expected Sony to go into a big Morpheus demo during the middle, but like how do you show VR on stage in a compelling way? And there's not really a good way to
the
do
same way Microsoft does augmented reality. Duh.
it. It doesn't have the same
Minecraft.
like that. The
Come
augmented reality.
on.
the augment-
Minecraft would be awesome with picking augmented reality. Just picking blocks, putting them
The
in.
But then
AR
you have
what
to
they
remember,
did.
you don't have any tactile sensor. It's just like air.
The AR
Yeah.
thing is cool and is easy to show off because you are showing a digital thing existing in the real world in a way that like we've never seen before. And it's from all the accounts that I've heard from E3, what they showed at the E3 press conference is exactly how that thing works. Like a lot of people be skeptical and like, oh no, that was post rendered into that scene. Technically, it is because that's how AR technically works. But like the people who went and saw the AR demos at Microsoft's like booth were like blown away. Like that's like the viewing area is very small apparently, but it works exactly how they showed it on stage working. Everything I've heard about like the Halo experience where they got to try HoloLens doing a whole like mission briefing for Halo was incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was all crazy and nuts. Lots of different things for AR. That Starbreeze AR thing is weird.
Starbreeze AR thing?
Star VR. Apparently Starbreeze last year, I didn't even notice, bought some like European VR company like Infinite-Eye. And they showed off their virtual reality headset. It is super widescreen. It's got 210 degree viewing angle as opposed to Oculus, which is 100 degree viewing angle.
I'm not sure you'd need more than what Oculus has. Because most of what you're doing is head back and forth, not eye back and forth. You know?
But they basically take two Galaxy Note panels, and instead of putting them like this, they put them like this in front of your eyes.
So it's essentially like an ultra wide for VR.
Yeah, it's super, and it's like their goal is to make like a high performance, super premium. It is a 5K resolution screen, like that. That's their goal with their VR. Everyone who tried it said it was kind of cool, but it's really weird.
Well, the big thing now is make games that are compatible for VR. Like Oculus is on the right track, and they have developer support right now. But
give us the games and the interactive porn. We're sold.
Actually, even just one of those would be fine.
I think what's really going to need to happen is like Best Buy and Target and these places are going to need to get like a pop-up station to show off this stuff to people. Like I think that's the only way that this is going to.
Yeah, because it's not really going to sell until people are actually like enough people have put it on and can like say,
can be like, holy shit, this thing is awesome.
And then enough people have it in houses, and yeah, word of mouth.
Wait, what we need? We need PT. We need the PT demo, Oculus Rift, a small booth, and it'll go fucking viral. It will work.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, all you need is like one.
That sounds like a case for harassment charges.
No, all you need is like one person like Markiplier from YouTube to do like some stupid video about him playing PT with a VR headset. I'm telling you, I think we will be onto something.
The creator of Oddworld put it the best way. You don't shove games into VR. You start with VR and you build from there.
You finesse them in there?
You don't like, because somebody asks like, hey,
you just wiggle it on in.
Some guy's like, hey, are you bringing Oddworld to VR? Is that something you were going to do? And he's like, you can't just shove up an existing, and like everyone's first thought was just shove a first person shooter into it. But like, they're not designed that way. They run janky and they don't work well, and there's issues abound, and that's how you make people sick. And it's like, you need to start with, okay, this is how VR works, and then build your game from there. Like, let it flower.
Fuck it. Roller Coaster Tycoon Simulator, the game. Done.
That will literally make people sick.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Do you have any idea how sick that would be?
No.
Literally.
No. I think like I said, this was just like a super quick flash pan E3 talk. I think we'll probably all percolate a little bit more this week and maybe have a more cohesive talk next week.
There's also the after E3 stuff where people...
Yeah, we'll see like...
Oh, wait, we can't actually do that.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe we'll allow Mitch to get an opportunity to catch up on stuff. Speaking of which, where did you guys watch E3 this year? Like, I watched Giant Bomb's coverage and I thought it was great because they don't like the same things I don't like, so they just talk through the stuff that I don't like. Like during the EA, when the sports stuff came out, they had conversation about other stuff that was way more interesting. Zach, where did you watch E3 coverage this year? Like, did you just read about it?
Well, I had no internet, so I watched bits and pieces of panels on my phone on the main E3 Twitch.
I just went to IGN just because they always had the video streaming. I hated each and every bit of everything they had to say outside of the things that they were filming, but at least it was high quality. So
you should have just watched Giant Bombs.
I know I should have. Instead, I got stuck with IGN and them trying to make stories out of nothing. It's like watching 4 commenters or 4 guys trying to commentary League of Legends who are actually professional Counter-Strike players. Like, they didn't know. They're just like, well,
Well, I mean,
what do you think about that?
They don't have their normal E3 crew this year as well because Greg and all them left.
Seriously, if like Adam Sessler, Morgan, oh come on, why can't I remember what's the last name?
Webb.
Thank you. And Morgan Webb just came back and did just this like this 2-person independent team. They would have blown up the internet.
They did.
They did. That was the Twitch stuff.
Yeah, that was
Was
the main
it?
Twitch channel. Was
Yeah, Twitch
Adam
got
Sessler
Morgan and Adam back to do
Fuck! Why?
their stuff.
Twitch kept on like spamming me, like saying, "Hey, come watch E3," and it was like, "Ah,
YouTube
I should do that."
YouTube
I don't
got
have time.
YouTube's panel or stage was all run by Rooster Teeth this year. Like
That's-
they came to Rooster Teeth and said, "Hey, would you want to do one day?" And Rooster Teeth's like, "How about we do all 3?" So yeah,
I'll
so
take
Rooster
you one day and raise you 3.
and YouTube was like, "Sure, that means we don't have to find anybody else." So YouTube, yeah, with their new gaming service and stuff like that, that was their like what they did is.
is that actually out now?"
I don't know. Like it's supposed to be. I think it's like YouTube.com/gaming or
You know what? I got
however
a
you get to
computer
the music
right
thing.
here.
But yeah, that was if you're looking for a place to go catch, like if you're looking for a place to go check out all these other really cool things, Giant Bomb had lots of really cool stuff. I know Mitch watched just a big like YouTube like playlist of videos.
I did watch the trailers.
Watch trailers. Giant Bomb's coverage was really good if you want to watch the press conferences because they kind of Jeff talked about stuff he saw at Judges Week. But I think that'll probably wrap us up for this week. Like we said, we don't do winners, we don't do losers here.
Except in IGN. IGN is a fucking loser. I will say that.
What I will
Again,
say
I'm
though
the
is
winner.
like
Yeah,
last
Mitch-
year, we're all winners. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean,
A winner
E3
is you.
E3 is a time for us to see really cool shit and get excited about games. And I think this year was a great year for that. I think there was literally something for everybody this year at E3. No matter what type of gamer you are, what type of games you like, there was something for everybody. It's as much as like and maybe we'll talk about this next week, but like Sony's press conference to me is always a weird press conference because like their stuff is always so clinical and very business and very like by the numbers. Like, okay, like when Adam Boyes came up and said, okay, we've got Last Guardian, we've got Final Fantasy VII, and we've got like he was joking, but that is how their press conference always feels to me. And the fact that I didn't do numbers this year was fantastic. Like that made that press conference 10 times better.
Or any mention of a Coca-Cola partnership.
Yeah, like there was no mentions of partnerships or anything like that. And maybe next week we'll talk about the Call of Duty partnership and how dumb that is. And why it doesn't matter anymore.
Big whoop.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
But
people care about Call of Duty these days.
so I mean, like we'll talk about some of that stuff next week. Hope you all had a great E3. Really great stuff. Go check out some trailers. Go see some stuff. If you have an iPhone right now, go check out that new Fallout Shelter game. I hear it's dope. As according to Matt, that game is awesome. It's coming to Android at some point. Sometime.
Currently on my phone.
I mean, ZeniMax, Bethesda's like just down the street.
Hey, go knock on their door and say, bring that shit to Android. Like,
let me just go
They're
ahead and
probably
boot up this
working on it,
fantastic Fallout Shelter game.
Yeah. Apparently that Fallout Shelter game was just kind of like let's see what we can do. Let's do it for free. Yeah. So like this was exciting E3 and Gamescom should be interesting since we're going to see a whole bunch of games we didn't see before. Get that off the screen.
Feel it.
It looks terrible.
Feel it.
Leave it alone.
Can't even see
Wow.
anything. It's just
Wow.
blown
look at
out.
those, look at those black bars on that iPhone.
Yeah.
Pretty shitty refresh
That's
rate.
That's actually my phone.
I know. No, I'm saying you're getting black bars.
Anyways,
refresh rate.
regardless, Gamescom should be interesting. So we're going to see some games that we didn't get to see at E3. I think this year will be really great for games. We got Batman coming out next week. We got a whole bunch of games that Microsoft said is coming out this year. I don't know what Sony said is coming out this year because I don't think they had anything minus Batman. Nintendo, if you're into that, it's got some stuff.
Make it sound like it's a fetish.
Square.
if you're into that kind of thing, you know.
Okay, before we close this shit out, we do have to talk about one press conference and how fucking weird it was.
Ubisoft?
No, Ubisoft was Ubisoft. I've come to expect that when Tyler's there, that press conference is going to be that professional cosplayer. Though I'm pretty sure that Ubisoft is like, okay, they paid somebody to show up dressed as the main character from Assassin's Creed, and Aisha Tyler like saw him in the audience, went sat down next to him, and said, "Who are you?" And I'm fairly certain he was supposed to say, "I am so and so from Assassin's Creed Syndicate," and play the character as the character. What he said was his name was his real name, and I am a paid cosplayer to be here. I'm pretty certain Ubisoft's like, for fuck's sake, really?
You had one job, guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like it got real awkward. It was really great. Fucking hilarious. Go check that out. But no, like the weirdest press conference of all of them was Square's. Like the director of Nier, the game director of Nier, I can't remember his name, came out on stage wearing a moon mask helmet. He looked like
helmet?
He looked like the moon from Majora's Mask.
Oh
yeah.
Really?
Apparently that's a character from Nier. He doesn't like, so I understand he doesn't like to be seen in public. That's something fine, whatever. It was just really fucking weird. They showed off Nier and they're like, oh, we've got this game back in development that no one knew they wanted again. And oh, hey,
Nier was actually a great game.
Yeah. And they're like, well, we're going Platinum Games on this to make this game. And then they're like, so the guy from Platinum Games came out and the director from Nier came out. And I'm like, he's wearing a moon helmet mask thing. Like it was a moon.
I am Moon Man.
It's like a moon that someone just put over the top of his head.
All right.
Go watch, just slide the bar through the square.
Oh, I just got it. He is mooning the audience. Ah.
We're done. You're done, Matt.
For once, Matt actually has a pun that's halfway decent.
Yeah, that was actually, that was not.
That was good. I liked it.
If you get a chance, go check that thing out. Watch the Giant Bomb version of it, because that one was absolutely hilarious, because even the Giant Bomb guys were like,
what? I forgot.
What is going on?
Some of those reaction videos are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go check that stuff out. Hope you all had a great E3. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll get to go. Next week we'll do a little more in-depth breakdown of some like the bigger games. I'm sure we get some time to percolate and the four of us have conversations.
Or coffee.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about Final Fantasy VII and what that means for people and why it's exciting for some people. We didn't even talk about like Hitman, and we didn't talk about.
Okay, stop talking about games. There's too many.
There's
and
just
we
too
have
many
so
games.
much
Like,
more time.
We'll talk about it next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Deuces, everybody.
Thanks for stopping by the Sharks and Things podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or your favorite podcast app. You can find us on all the social media at Sharks and Things. Don't forget to shoot us an email with questions, comments, or concerns to sharksandthings@gmail.com. Stay up to date with all the latest news announcements by visiting us at www.sharksandthings.com. Lastly, don't forget to check the show notes below for all the links to today's stories and our Green Man Gaming promo.